You ask, what can be done?
So what can people do?
That's the $64 question.
We should take nothing for granted. Only an alert and knowledgeable citizenry can compel the proper meshing of the huge industrial and military machinery of defense with our peaceful methods and goals.
You can say what you want to about the military-industrial complex, but quite frankly, the buck stops with our members of Congress.
The supplemental $25 billion included in this bill for operations is not enough.
$98 million to upgrade the fleet of B-2 bombers.
Today, the government's resources are being spent so heavily in areas that don't return value for the American public. And at some point, the government policies just become so out of whack with what the country actually needs.
Our country spends more on defense than all of the other 18 members of NATO.
No one has any doubt about the need to defend the country. But if the money we spend on foreign affairs in the United States today, 93% of it is controlled by the Pentagon, 7% by the State Department. That's militarism. That's not defense of the country.
The dominant thought process has been that we're in this new terrorist world. Well, you know, it's serious, but it's nothing like the threats we faced in the past. This is not Joe Stalin. This is not Adolf Hitler.
There is no doubt that Saddam Hussein now has weapons of mass destruction.
And insofar as people realize that they've been manipulated about the extent of the threat, then the support for those politicians, for those policies, drops.
If you can take care of another country, what about home?
And if this happens at the same time that the American public is demanding that their needs be satisfied,
Where's FEMA? Where's the mail?
that if we can build hospitals for Iraq, why can't we build them for Detroit? If we can print textbooks for the kids of Iraq, how come my kid doesn't have a textbook in his school? If that pent-up social demand hits at the same time as the threat decreases, bang, you have a transformational moment in American politics.
Our toil, resources, and livelihood are all involved. So is the very structure of our society.
I think my grandfather would be very sympathetic to our domestic situation here. Life is hectic, life is busy. We've got 2 wage earners in families in this country, and people have their cell phones attached to their ears, and it's very hard for any of us as individuals to stand back and look at the big picture. But I dare say that our way of life is going to depend on greater public participation over time, because at the moment, a smaller and smaller handful of people are actually directing the business of this country.
Democracy fundamentally is not a spectator sport.
This is what democracy looks like.
Tell me what democracy looks like.
People do need to question their government frequently and often, and this is the message the Founding Fathers told us. They said, you can't trust your government. You have to be a participant.
The only thing that would reinvigorate the Republic today is a renaissance of outraged citizens who are well informed, who are using the internet to get around the channeled propaganda information they're being fed every day.
At the end of the day, Eisenhower believed that the ultimate check on unwarranted influence of any special interest was an alert and knowledgeable citizenry.
The military-industrial complex is not inevitable. It's not unbeatable. You can change it. You should not lose hope. We just lost the battle to stop the last war. But this is a never-ending cycle. You have to keep fighting.